author, and a motivational speaker. In this podcast, you'll learn how to manage your boutique better, have balance in your life, and learn from experts you care. So whether you've been in the business for decades or you're just getting started, it's important to get help from someone who's been there and someone who's going to coach you along the way. So head over to boostyourboutique.com to learn more today. And now, here's episode.
Hello. Have you ever wanted a best friend, a coach, a consultant, someone to just tell you what to do and tell you how to best do it? Guess what? You found her. Guys, my name's Emily Benson, and welcome to the Boost Your Boutique podcast. I am so excited to finally be launching my podcast. It is a long time coming. Maybe you've seen me on Facebook Live. Maybe you've read my book. Maybe this is your first time listening. Hi, nice to meet you. I know that you have so much going on in your life, whether you're still in your 9 to 5, whether you're running your boutique business right now, maybe you're about to launch an e-commerce site, or maybe you are just in the beginning stages of saying, I have this great idea for a product and I want to launch it. Awesome. All of that is awesome, and you are in the right place. I want to tell you that one of the reasons I feel so passionately about having this podcast and doing what I do is that no one else is talking about this. If you're like me, maybe you hang out on Facebook a little too much during the day and you see all of these people advertising for funnels and webinars and Facebook ads, and then you click and you go into their, so then you click and you sign up for their list and you start getting stuff that is just downright confusing in your inbox. And you think, how does this relate to my product-based business? How does this relate to me selling this physical item? What is a webinar going to do to help me sell these shoes or to help me launch my t-shirt line? Let me tell you, nothing. Okay, it's going to do nothing for you. And having come from a product-based background, having worked in corporate retail for many years, having my own boutiques for many years, what I realized is there's huge lack of information and resources and just straight up training for people like you out there who want to have a great product-based business, but you really don't want to have to sort through all the confusing, information. Some of it's not even really good information. Some of it's just crap. Anyway, you'll find out that I'm pretty honest. And that's what you're going to get in this podcast. You're going to get Emily unfiltered. You're going to get me being very honest, me telling you what I've done that's worked, what I've done that hasn't worked. You're also going to get some amazing interviews with women and men who I think are just downright cool and that want to help you in your business. Because here's the deal. One of the biggest things I've learned is that you can't do it alone. And so I want to be here for you, and there's a whole host of other people that want to be there for you. Whether it's just through listening to one podcast, or maybe you end up researching them and listening to their podcast, or watching them on Facebook Live, or learning from them, whether it's health or mindset or PR. I get people coming on from all walks of life, which to me is super exciting because in our boutique business and our product-based business, we get so obsessed. Right? Are you with me? We get so obsessed running our business and we forget the other stuff. We forget to take a vacation. We forget to drink our lemon water in the morning. We forget to work out, or we forget that our mindset is the most important thing along the journey of entrepreneurship and small business ownership. And so I'm here to remind you of all that in an easy way, right? You can pop this in while you're working out. You can pop me in your ears when you are taking the dog for a walk, or pop me in your ears while you're cooking dinner at night. And so that is my goal for you, is to take some time out of your week, out of your day, and get some Emily time. Get some time for yourself to learn the best of the best in terms of what's going on in boutique land, is what I usually call it. And then what's going on with everything else? Like, what else should you be thinking about? Or what else do you need to be aware of to make your life better? Because if there's one thing I know, it's that in my own journey, I haven't had the most balanced life and business. It has taken me a lot of study and a lot of mistakes, to be honest, along this business journey. When I first started my career in the fashion industry, I was right out of college. I had studied art and design, and I went straight into being a merchant at a small company you might know called Abercrombie and Fitch. And there I was the accessories merchant for the girls' store, so the little girls' store. And wow, I learned so much. I felt like I went to fashion grad school. I always call that my fashion graduate school, because I don't really have fashion grad school, but hands-on experience is the best. After that, I moved straight away to New York, the mecca for fashion and for retail. And I worked for Henry Bendel. And during that time, I, again, learned so much. All with kind of the knowledge that in the back of my head, like, I really was going to open my own store at some point. You know, working in the Fifth Avenue flagship of Henry Bendel, if you haven't been there, it's stunning. It's a stunning store. You know, I got to go back and forth from the office to the store all the time, and I would find myself wanting to stay at the store a little bit more over time, because it was just fun. It was fun to work with customers. It was fun to talk about the products we had designed. And the energy in the store was something I was so drawn to. And so that was when I started, that kind of clicked in, where I said, at some point in the near future, I'm going to start my own boutique. And about 3 years later, I saw food trucks driving around Manhattan, and I thought to myself, whoa, if they can put like a whole kitchen with a fry-later and ovens in a truck, I can absolutely put a store in a truck. Awesome. And so the idea for the fashion truck was born. I ended up doing a ton of research, figuring out how the heck this thing could work, where could it work. And in November of 2011, and in November of 2010, I asked my dad to buy me thefashiontruck.com for my birthday. I didn't know how to do that. I didn't know how to buy a domain. Now I do. But then I didn't know how, and I knew he did. So I said, hey, I really want this wacky birthday present. And of course, he said, okay, sure. Well, 2 months later, I got laid off from my corporate retail job. I had been making 6 figures. I was pretty comfortable. But it was really the push and the shove that I needed from the universe to go out on my own and actually make this fashion truck thing happen. So within 6 months, I moved back to Boston, where I grew up. I moved back in with my parents and my grandmother, which is a story for another day. And we became, For's company while I built my truck. And of course, I had tons of help from my family. And within 6 months, I had the fashion truck rolling out the door. I did events. I Within 6 months of being laid off, I had the fashion truck rolling out the door. And within 6 months of getting laid off, almost to the day, I had the fashion truck rolling out of our driveway. And I remember that moment. It was actually dark because I was on the way to an event. And I just remember the chills I felt thinking of how accomplished I felt. Like, wow, this is it. And then I got into the work of it. I was like, okay, this is a lot. This is a lot of work running my own business. This is a lot of work running my own boutique. Even though it was one store, I could take it where I wanted to. I could do what I wanted to with it. It was still so much work. And even though in that first year I had some great success, I also really wore myself out. And by about a year and a half in, I actually crashed that truck into a telephone pole. And so it was then that I really started to take things seriously around work-life balance. I started to study and learn more about how do I have a super successful business and have a super successful life. You know, one thing cannot be without the other. They have to be in balance. And now when I work with clients, I find that that's the biggest, hardest struggle for them is putting that balance into place. You know, of course, when you start up, you have to give your all. But there's got to be a point in your journey where a switch goes off and says, okay, I've hit my goals, and now it's time for me to think about myself and what I want my life to look like. And over the next 3 years, I did that, all while being featured in over 40 international magazines, winning awards left and right, and having a really nice life, taking winters off, taking vacations. I opened a brick and mortar store. And this is where things started to shift for me. And this is where people started to notice me more. People in the industry, in the fashion industry, in the boutique industry, they started to come to me and say, how are you doing this? How are you so successful financially and you have all this outside success, but you also seem to kind of like know what you're doing. And frankly, I know what I'm doing, period, because I have the background in retail. I know how to run a great business, and I've worked my tail off to learn and study how to make it all work together. And so now I coach, I consult, I am a keynote speaker, I have online programs. I have 100% devoted my time and my efforts to helping women exactly like you have an amazing boutiques if you want to be, and have a fulfilling life where they are excited to wake up every day. They don't dread going to the store. They don't feel pain when they think about having to ship another item. That's what I want for you. I want your life to be balanced. I want you to have the latest and greatest in marketing and what's going on out there in boutique land. And I want you to have the knowledge and the resources behind you to have a crazy, cool, awesome life. So if you're in for that, that's what you can expect from this. So if you're in for that, that's what you can expect from this podcast. I'm going to cover the whole gamut. So if you're in for having an awesome boutique and an awesome life, stay here. This is exactly what you're going to expect from me to bring to you every Wednesday on the Boost Your Boutique podcast. If you want to learn more about me, you can head over to a couple different websites. I have boostyyourboutique.com where you'll be able to access episodes and show notes. I have stylishandsuccessful.com, which is where I do most of my consulting work out of. And then I, of course, still own fashiontruck.com, where if you're a mobile specific retailer, if you want to go mobile, that's a great place for you to find resources, especially free resources, for you to get started in your mobile adventure, because it certainly is an adventure. So I hope that each week you'll join me. If you have questions and you want to, so if you can't find what you're looking for on any of those pages, you can hit me up on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and let me know what you want to hear about. Let me know what you're struggling with, and I would be so excited to figure out how. And let me know what you're struggling with. And I'm going to do my best to give you the best advice I can, whether it be through this podcast, through a Facebook Live, or maybe through a blog post. But stay tuned. So most importantly, if you love what you're hearing, please download the episode, subscribe to the podcast, rate and review this on iTunes so more people can hear about what you're loving here. Most importantly, if you're loving what you're hearing over the podcast, most importantly, if you love what I'm doing, saying, talking about, or maybe you just think I'm funny, please, 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 I would so appreciate it if you subscribe to the podcast, downloaded each episode, and if you're up to it, gave me a great rating and review on iTunes so that more people just like you who are in their boutiques struggling or in their boutiques thriving and just want to learn more can find me and can find out about all these resources that I offer. I would so appreciate it. And, sharing is caring. So pass on the love. All right, guys. Well, I'm going to wrap it up here. All right. So thanks for listening to this introduction. I hope you dive right into the next couple podcasts right away. And so thanks for listening to the introduction episode of the Boost Your Boutique podcast. And as always, here's to making lots of friends and making lots of money.